This time we'll begin our media session with our head coaches as our schedule has been shared with you. Our first coach is Coach Connell Maynor with the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. If you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent non-conference outing versus Tuskegee.
Yeah, we played Tuskegee and Mobile in the challenge game, and we know they Tuskegee. You know, they always going to be well coached. Slater's been there a long time. Always does a good job in all three phases of the game, and his team never quits. And they showed that we got up on them 17-0, and they came back and made it a game. And then it was a 3-point game late in the third quarter. So they never quit, and we stretched it back out, and then they got a late score to cut it to 45-35. But we knew they weren't going to quit, and they well coached. They play hard, and so we was happy to get another W. Man, it's hard to get those W's, and as long as you get the W, that's the goal. And we got a lot of work to do, though. We still got a lot of work to do, offensively, defensively, and special teams. We know that, so we're gonna keep fighting, and keep working.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach Maynor. If you do have any questions for our coaches, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your questions in queue for Coach. Our first question goes to Luke Williams.
Coach Maynor, good morning. I had a call this week. From somebody that asked me to assess Akil Glass in terms of SWAC history as well as his opportunities or potential to play on the next level. And I gave him my observations. How would you say he's positioned himself and how much he's grown as a quarterback since you've had him?
He's grown a lot. You know, like I say, the year before I got here, he played a lot, and he had 4 touchdown passes and 12 interceptions.
Right.
So, you know, he's made huge steps every year. And it's just a process, learning the offense, being in the same offense, same coaches, didn't have to switch OCs and systems. And so he get to stay in the same system. So, of course, he's going to continue to grow and get better and better. And then he got weapons to throw the ball to. You can't be, you know, my coach told me, he said, man, you can't throw it and catch it. So you got to have some receivers also to be a good quarterback, and you got to have protection up front. And he has all of that, and that's why he's continued to grow and get better.
The interceptions, I know like you said, early on, he had a lot more interceptions than touchdowns. Still continues to turn it over a little bit. How much does that concern you right now? I mean, obviously, any turnover is going to concern you. But in terms of his ability to read defenses, and has it grown? And are those turnovers he's making now interceptions as a result of what would they be the result of?
Just bad decisions. He's still making a couple of bad decisions a game. For the most part, he's still playing at a high level. He's just making a couple of mistakes, and when he made those mistakes, they're interceptions. You know, and I like to compare a lot of stuff to golf. I'm a big golfer. And, you know, in golf, it ain't about your good shots. It's how bad are your bad shots.
Right.
So some people miss the ball. I missed the ball. It's going to still be in the fairway. You know, Coach Hill-Eley missed the ball. It's going to be in somebody's backyard. So right now, Akil misses are interceptions instead of just incomplete passes. So we got to get that cleaned up. And that's kind of where he is. He's making a lot of good decisions, but he's made a couple of bad decisions. And his bad decisions can't be interceptions. Just got to be incomplete or something like that. So we just got to get him playing one play at a time, continue doing that. And just one play at a time, man. One play at a time, do your job. And next thing you know, it'll be the 4th quarter game and be over with.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Currently taking questions for Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Coach Maynor, obviously back to conference play this week. Grambling State on your schedule for this Saturday. Can you preview your upcoming matchup with the Tigers?
Yeah, man, it's going to be another fight, man. We got to go to Grambling, and Coach Fobbs' team has improved a lot tremendously since last season when he kind of had a down season with all the coaches and everything that was going on there. He kind of got that solidified and got his team back playing hard, man. And that defense is probably as good as it's ever been. And they hungry. You know, they got it backs up against the wall a little bit where they can't really afford to lose another game and stay in this thing. So we know we're gonna get their best game this week. And they got nothing to lose. They got to win this football game, and so we're gonna be prepared for it. We know we're gonna get everybody's best shot, and it's gonna be a tough battle, but we'll be prepared and we'll be ready to go.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Maynor, I know season is the long haul, but thus far, if you were able to kind of analyze the team over the last couple of games, what do you see your team coming together like?
We still got some work to do. We're probably a B- right now. Giving up a few too many points and big plays on defense, and it's really coverages, man. We're just busting coverages. We're really not getting beat man to man. We're playing zones and not where we're supposed to be, and don't have our eyes in the right spots. And then in the running game, is fits, and a fit perfect for 2 plays, and the third play, he won't be there. And then they run down the sideline. He got to turn around and run behind him and tackle him. So again, it's all correctable stuff, but we got to get it corrected. We've been trying to correct it, and we got 3 games on our belt now. So hopefully these guys understand that it's about consistency. Flashes of greatness will get you beat. You can't just make a play here, play there. You got to be consistent, and that's what we're trying to get to. And then special teams too. We got to be more consistent. We'll kick the ball off 7 times, stop them 6, and then give up 1 long for a touchdown. So it has to be consistency. It has to be consistent. It has to do the same thing every time. And offensively, we didn't turn the ball over 3 times each game. So we can't do that. We can't turn the ball over and expect to be good football teams, especially the stretch run that we're about to go on right now. So we got to take care of that ball on offense. Defense, we just got to be more consistent. Don't give it the big plays. And special teams, we just got to fight a little bit harder, man, and get a little bit more heart.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Mo Carter.
Hey, Coach, I know you don't like to dwell on the past too much, but when Alabama A&M under your watch has played Grambling, Quill Glass hasn't had his best performances, both in a home game and an away game. I know those teams have changed over the last couple of years, but one thing remains the same, that Quill is still your quarterback. So, what do you see on film when it comes to Grambling that he's going to have to do better compared to the performances he's had the last couple of times against the Tigers?
He's got to make better decisions and make the throws. Grambling is Grambling. They're going to play what they play. They're going to play man. They're going to put pressure on you, and you got to beat them. So he just got to make good decisions, get us in the right play and out of the right play, and go to our one-on-one coverage. We're going to have somebody one-on-one or a couple guys one-on-one. He got to go to those guys and make the throw. If it's you got them beat, got to put on the money. If they're even, you got to throw them a back shoulder or a jump ball. And that's all we're looking for him to do. But you're correct. He hasn't played good against Grambling in the 2 games that we played him. So, I've been in his ear. I'll be telling him all week, you ain't beat Grambling. You haven't beat Grambling yet.
Okay, and like another thing too, Coach, when you take a look at, your schedule, I know it's a game-by-game process, but how do you get your guys to remain and focus on what's at hand next, considering that there's a meat of a schedule that you're literally about to go through before you hit that bye?
Yeah, it is. It is, Mo. Like I said, we got to stay focused 1 game at a time. Our guys know the biggest game of the season is the next game. And this game sets up the next game. So we got to take care of business in this game. We got Grambling. I don't know who we got out of Grambling, but I know we got Grambling this week. We got to win that game, and then we get ready for whoever we play after Grambling.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Any final questions for Coach? Final questions for Coach Maynor. Coach, as always, thank you so much for your time. Look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Okay, thank you. But if I have a question for Ely, can I ask one?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just wondered. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right.
Yeah, you can ask. Go ahead and get it out the way now.
No, I'm going to wait.
Now go to Montgomery, Alabama, and the Alabama State Hornets. We're joined by head coach Donald Hill-Eley. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning.
Coach, big win there at home against Bethune-Cookman this past weekend. If you could please start us out with an opening statement about that most recent contest.
You know what? A very good SWAC contest. Bethune, Coach Sims always do a good job of having those guys up, ready to play. They played hard. We was able to get up on them early, which kind of changed things for them where they, took them out of their run game where they had to throw the ball. And then they did a good job of throwing the ball, the 50-50 ball to those big tight ends. And we thought we took them out. Then they got back in the game. And then we had to play again to try to play keep away. And it was just good for us as a program to have a complete game where all three phases show up, and not just resting everything on the defense to hold opponents to 7 points. Offense was able to get some points, and defense was able, to fix some things and end up putting us in a position where we got a couple more points than they had. But it was a great contest, great day for our fans, and it's definitely a welcome addition having Bethune-Cookman in the conference.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach Hill-Eley. If you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Currently taking questions for Coach Hill-Eley. Coach Hill-Eley, obviously, as printed on your schedule, next opponent will be Florida A&M. If you could please talk to us a little bit about the Rattlers.
Coach Simmons, again, another newcomer to the conference, but, a old face to the conference himself. Won a lot of games in the conference before he switched over to the MEAC. And, you can see, as we watch them as a program, a lot of talent, very disciplined ball club, play here, play there. From really having a undefeated record. I mean, they got a lot of good play, a lot of good defense. They opened up with Jackson and didn't win that game, but had a lot of plays that they left out there. Then they came back and won against Fort Valley and put them out of there, and then went up against a good opponent in South Florida and really had a good ball game with them. So we got our work cut out. It's, tough going down there playing at the Bragg, real familiar with that area, but, we got to get our guys ready to go.
Currently taking questions for Coach Hill-Eley with Alabama State. Coach, obviously, this past week, Gaddy had a really impressive performance on the defensive side of the ball. Can you assess his play and his impact?
Tackle for loss. I think he had about 10 tackles. And that's what we need up front. With Christian Clark demanding a double team every play, he has a one-on-one, and we expect those guys to beat the one-on-ones. And it's good for him to, really step up and take advantage of that situation on the O-line. And when you get guys in that front making 10 tackles, and especially with Bubba being out, it really helps us because now that ball is not getting to the second level in the run game. So, he has to continue to do that. And some of the guys that's lining up beside him got to do the same, continue to keep that pass rush and that run defense going.
Next question goes to Tolly Carr. All right.
Sorry there, Andrew. I'm a little slow, man. I'm getting older by the day. I was just wondering, what challenges do you face when you face a team that's coming off a bye week and they kind of have that extra week to get ready for you?
Well, you know what? One, they're healthy, but more importantly, they had a chance to really scout you through and through. So a lot of the tendencies and things of that nature that you normally don't get a chance to catch with 1 week to prepare, they'll have all kinds of tendencies that they've been able to watch. So we just got to, do some tendency busters for ourselves, a lot of self-scouting on, things that they want to take away, whether it's offensively and different things that they may want to try to do on us defensively and then our special team. So, it should be a well-scouted game when you have time to prepare. And I'm quite sure Coach Simmons, those guys have always done a good job, whether they had 1 week or 2 weeks of making sure they put together great game plans.
Now, I've heard that the fans, the Alabama State fans, are really excited about making the trip down to FAMU. As a coach, I know you can't worry about the fans, but do you get a sense or feeling throughout the year that some games just kind of have more buzz in your community than others?
Yeah, anytime you play old rivalries, and FAMU is one of those old rivalries, 3 hours away, and got a lot of similar qualities when it comes to the bands, the teams, a lot of alums. Matter of fact, Coach Pearson, his wife is a FAMU grad, so there's a lot of overlap of FAMU guys that's in this area and in that region. But again, it's another opportunity for us to play football, because if again, you start listening to the fans, it won't be long before you start sitting with them.
No, that's right. Thanks a lot, Coach. Have a good game this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Dr. Hill-Eley, that's a jewel. You start sitting with them, huh?
Hey, start listening to them. You know how that is.
All right, you don't have to listen to them, but hopefully you listen to me. On this question here, I want to ask you, you've been able to win games, both defensive style, low scoring, and now a high scoring game. What does that tell you about your team overall, this early maturation?
Now we're looking for consistency. Can we now put it all together week in and week out? And this is where we've been trying to get to with this program, putting the talent in place and being able, everything can't, be flooding. You can't have the defense getting flooded, offense and special teams. So we build up the personnel on our defensive side first, because again, if you can stop people, you can find ways to create ways to win games. And then we started putting more talent on our offensive side, finding a quarterback, finding receivers, making sure we got athletic offensive line. And now that we've been able to score some points offensively against a very good program, now we just got to put it all together. And as I told the young men after the game, it's now we're looking for the consistent part. Can we go out and play that solid defense that we've been playing, and holding the kicks down in the kicking game where there's no big returns and putting points up on offense? That's when we're going to become great contenders year in and year out and week in and week out. So we're trying to find a way to replicate what we've done and get better week in and week out.
One follow-up quick question in terms of facing FAMU. You talked a little bit about the cultural experience there, and obviously what we see it as a well-coached team. But can you talk about some things that they do particularly that concern you, or things that you look at trying to seek to take advantage of?
Well, Coach Simmons is he's the godfather of this conference of the tempo. He will get you in positions where, they calling them plays hot every nine seconds. So your team got to be conditioned. And then defensively, they can run with anybody. I mean, you're talking about that's the former school of Bob Hayes. So, his kids around there now running. So all you see is speed. When you watch the tape, you trying to make sure you don't have your hand on the fast forward. So they got speed in every situation. So, we got to go in there and we got to keep up with that speed. We got to keep up with that tempo. And, that's way before you get to the X's and O's. So, our work is cut out, and we just got to make sure that, we're ready for the challenge.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Two more questions. Next question goes to Luke Williams.
Luke Williams of the Black College Sports page. Doc, when you look at the conference and the conference race, what matters more to you, the entry of Bethune-Cookman and FAM, or the exit to the west of Alcorn?
You know what? You end up getting rid of, Alcorn, who had won the East. I don't know how many years, it's tough playing at the reservation. But then you get two opponents that hadn't been doormats of the MEAC. These two teams have been battling around first and third for the last 3-4 years in that conference. So you lose one and gain two. So, I'm not a big math guy, but it seemed like you get a double dose of what you just lost. So I don't know, if it created any breaks, anything for us, but it just created more tradition for us as a conference, and definitely as in the East.
Did you, when you look at the when you look at the film of Bethune playing A&M before they played you, what did you learn about them, and what did you learn about your team in terms of both of you obviously have gotten wins over a tough Bethune-Cookman team, but what did you learn about your team in terms of those two games, them beating Bethune and then you beating Bethune?
You know, they could get up for the challenge. You know, Bethune is, you know, they're not church boys getting off the bus. I mean, I know Murray McLeod started at school, but they some gangsters down in there. So they get off the bus, they're gonna talk trash, they're gonna hit you hard, and they're gonna play hard. So you gotta be able to combat that first. That one, you're gonna get hit in your mouth. Now, can you line down and play and hit them back in the mouth? And again, you know, as I told the guys before the game, everybody gonna get punched. It's not who punched the hardest, it's who punched the hardest the longest. And we was able to punch the hardest the longest.
And what is it in terms of punch? What are you gonna have to punch in terms of dealing with Florida A&M Saturday?
Got to keep that ball in front of us. We got to make sure that we corral that quarterback, that we keep them uncomfortable. We got to make sure that we keep the receivers in front of us, and then we got to score some points on the offense to put them in a situation where we can, where we can get them from playing behind. If that's our game plan, is try to take them out of what they want to do.
And lastly, what is the biggest part of what you're going to have to defense with them? I know McKay is the quarterback. They got some obviously some talented wide receivers. What's the number one defensively thing that you're going to have to do?
You know what? They got a front that they got two great pass rushers on that end, and our tackles are going to have to hold up, so we can't have the pocket collapsing when we go to pass. And then they got two studs in the inside on the run game that the man double team. So this is a very good football team, and we have to find an edge. And the day is game planning, so we're watching all the tape we can to try to find whether it's a weak scheme or a little less talented player who we can attack.
Good luck, Coach. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speak with you again next week.
All right. Coach Maynor, hit it straight, brother.
Thank you, Coach. We now go to Alcorn
Always.
Head Coach Fred McNair. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Andrew.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's road victory there against Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Well, it's always tough to play on the road, Andrew, and we're going to play on the road a lot this year. So going to Pine Bluff and playing a good coach Pine Bluff team, and Doc Gamble, it was very tough, and very tough first half for us. I think that everything could possibly go wrong during the course of a football game went wrong in the first half. All phases of the game, offense, special teams, defense. So just to go ahead and make some adjustment at halftime, come back out and play a better half than we did the first half. Commend this ball club the way they perform coming in the second half and putting on a good game to pull out this victory. But like I said, it was a tough fight. The kids didn't quit. They didn't give up. Just show what kind of character we have in these young men. Just staying cool and not getting upset, not getting frustrated throughout the whole process, and just making sure we just took care of the business we had to take care of and our adjustment at halftime.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach McNair. First question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach McNair, good morning, first of all. How is it that Alcorn never seems to be out of a football game? No matter what the score is, no matter how much time is left on the clock, you all seem to be able to stay in the game and ultimately pull out the victory. How is that? And what did you say to this team at halftime?
It wasn't a real big speech at halftime. The kids came in and got watered down and ate a few peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and I ate some oranges and everything. So got a lot of water. And the biggest thing I told them, that this first half ball game was the worst I've seen since I've been coaching football. Like I said, everything that could possibly go wrong in the first half went wrong. All phases of the game. I told them you have 30 minutes to go out and make it right. And just looking at those guys' eyes at halftime, and when I said to go out 30 minutes to make it right, that's what they did. They never showed any pressure. The guys stayed very cool on the fire and went out and played a better half. We created turnovers, gave the offense a chance to score points. Just that, in a nutshell, just kind of sums up the way these guys perform and the way these coaches made adjustment at halftime to make it right for 30 minutes.
As a follow-up, there was a red zone opportunity for the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff where they went for it on 4th down and your defense was able to stop them, which seemed to be a turning point in the game. Were you surprised that Arkansas Pine Bluff went for it in that situation?
Yeah, it was, but I'm more excited about what the defense did in that situation. You give up a kickoff, a pooch kickoff for 65 yards and on the 5-yard line, and then the defense go out and make a big stop for us and get the ball turnover on 4th down. So it was a big stop for us on defense. That was a good turning point for us to be able to get the ball and go down and score. But just the performance that defense gave at that point, I'm more excited about that than anything.
Thank you, Coach.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach, as you talked about at halftime, saying it wasn't a big raw speech, but in terms of what you did defensively and offensively, some adjustments, was I correct in looking at that it looked like you rolled the quarterback out a little more to give him time and space, or did I miss it?
We did that in other games. It's nothing new. What we've been doing. He did it the last 2 games we played. We moved him out in the pocket as well. So just something that he can do well. He can stay in the pocket and throw it as well too. So wasn't no adjustment there during the course of the game. That's a part of our game plan as well too. So just being able to do that, make some completion and things of that nature, which we did, and kind of got him going and made an adjustment and getting the ball out of his hand now. Seeing the field a little bit more.
Follow up on the defensive side, was that the same thing that the guys just played a little more technique, a little harder, or were there any adjustments that the coaching staff took into consideration?
Just the idea of them coming out and not giving up and putting forth a lot of effort. And that's what I told them this morning during the team meeting. The effort is there. We just got to put it all together. It's for what we do team-wise. It's more focused on the team now than whether it's offensive, defensive, special teams now. So for us team-wise, we just got a lot of work to do and making sure we put this thing all together to come together and win ball games in a better fashion.
Thank you, Coach Maynor.
Next question goes to Mia Berry.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. So a couple weeks ago, you guys had a little issue with your athletic trainer. And then last week, Deion said, hey, if they had an issue, reach out and call me. Did you ever kind of connect with Coach Deion?
No, I did not.
Okay. How did you feel about him extending the offer of help, saying this is bigger than a rivalry, and to call him like this is brotherhood?
It's always good. We're coaches, and we always talk as SWAC coaches. I mean, it's nothing new to what we do in this conference, and it's nothing new that when new coaches come in this league, we're always welcome into this conference, and that's what we do as coaches. And I think we have some of the best coaches in the SWAC conference than ever. And we're going to continue to improve that. And I think what Dr. McCullum is doing a great job of being our commissioner of this conference and bringing in good teams to this conference. So it's nothing that these coaches don't communicate all the time. So we always contacting each other in some form or fashion, whether through assistant coaches or whether through trainers or equipment managers. We all connected some kind of way. So it's nothing new.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Last question goes to Daryl Duvall.
Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Coach. I just want to say congratulations on the win. My family is my in-laws are from Pine Bluff, and my father is from Alcorn. So I am an Alcorn person, but I will say, the first half of that game, I was like shocked. One of the things I wanted to ask you is, y'all got a bye this week. What are y'all going to be working on to offset that slow start? Because I think y'all been slow in some of the games.
Yeah, pretty much everything. Offense, defense, special teams. I mean, we gotta address the whole team. That's what we're gonna be working on. What can we get better at in those situations and things of that nature. So it's the team process, and throughout this whole bye week, we're gonna work on Alcorn first. See what we do to get better as a coaching staff and as players. I talked about that in the meeting this morning. What we got to do in terms of that, and I think the first thing is look at Alcorn State University football program first before we start looking into Grambling in 2 weeks.
Coach,
thank you, Coach.
Appreciate your time, sir. We look forward to speaking with you again next week. Thanks, Coach. We now go to Bethune-Cookman, Coach Terry Sims. I do see Coach Sims. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please talk to us a little bit about your team's most recent outing at Alabama State.
Had a tough football game, man. I think, you always have to give credit where credit is due. And the coaches, Coach Ely and his staff, they had their guys ready to play. We knew it was going to be a tough football game. We knew we were going up against a football team that was going to be prepared. And that's just what it was. We started slow defensively, and we have to put our guys in better situations defensively. And we have to have guys making plays when they're, put in position to make them. Having them score 4 the first 5 times they had the ball is unacceptable. But, those are things that we have to go back and fix, and that falls on me. And we're fixing those things now because we can't have an outing like that. Our kids never quit. They continue to play. I think, when you look at the score, it doesn't really say what the game was about. We had 2 football teams that battled left and right the whole day. And you never want to discount anything that another program does. I can't say enough good things about, their program and the way we were treated when we were there. We just have to make the plays when it's time to make the plays, and we didn't, and that was the result of the football game.
Appreciate those comments. Coach went up for questions for Coach Sims. First question goes to James Hill.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
You'll get an opportunity to play South Carolina State, a familiar foe from the MEAC days. Can you just talk about that HBCU rivalry with Bethune and South Carolina State?
Always, and excuse the way I say this, it's always a bloodbath. When South Carolina State and Bethune-Cookman have played, I've been here 12 years. It's been a grudge match from the first play until the last play, and we don't look for anything different. We understand that Coach Pugh and his staff are going to have their guys ready to play. You can watch them on film. They're athletic, they're fast, they run around. Defensively, they go after the football, and they're aggressive on offense and on special teams, which you expect nothing less from a South Carolina State football team. And we're looking forward to the match because we have to start faster and finish stronger.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Sims, wanted to ask you about the last couple of games. You've been in all of these games. When you go back and you start looking at the films and looking forward, is this more about looking at yourself in terms of some things that you can work on to get better, or creating matchups in your next opponent?
No, absolutely. It's about us. It's about fixing us. And that's where the problem lies. Good football teams that you play, and we played, 2 good ones in this conference. you can't make, some of the mistakes that we have made, and you can't leave plays on the field. When you have an opportunity to make plays, you have to make them. But as I said, as coaches, we have to make sure we're putting those guys in good situations to be successful. And that's what we're doing, as we speak. We're making sure that we tighten up all of that stuff and give our football team a chance to start faster and not have to look up playing from behind against great football teams week in and week out.
Coach Sam, one follow-up question going a little deeper in that. Is that more of a mental, psychological thing, or is that some unique things that you're looking at in terms of technique or film type things that you work on, or a little bit of all of the above?
I think it's all of the above. And that's what makes all of this so interesting. It's a mental thing, a lot of times with some of the players, and just getting them through those first couple of series in the football game, and it's also just things that we have to do better as coaches as far as scheme wise and making sure they're in the positions to be successful when they take the field.
Thank you, Coach, for your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Perry Daniel.
Coach Sims, Coach Pugh and the South Carolina State Bulldogs have given up a lot of points this season. Can you talk about areas of their defense that you could see your squad being able to take advantage of?
Well, I think this, when you watch them on film, no one has just completely run over them. They're a lot like us, defensively. They're aggressive. And sometimes when you're an aggressive defense, people catch you. And that's what's happened. They have given up some big plays, and they have resulted in not just long yardage plays, but touchdowns. And that's the thing that, obviously we're looking at. What people have been able to do to their defense, what people have been able to do special teams wise to get an edge on them. But usually what happens with that, when you see it on film, they see it also. So they're going back to correct those things and hope that they don't happen to them again. So we just have to prepare for what we see on film and, most importantly, work on us.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Coach Sims. If you do have any questions, please utilize your raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. Currently taking questions for Coach Sims. Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Yeah, since you jump in here and allow me to get back here and ask a follow-up question, more specifically about South Carolina State. But if you talked about this being an old-fashioned dog-cat fight, in a lot of ways, you talked about, the framework, a bloodbath. It was contextually in terms of football. Talk a little bit more about the uniqueness of the programs of being so defensive-minded and then finding ways just to make plays.
Well, I think that's, exactly what it is. You find two teams that have historically had, strong defenses. And it's been, the offense and the special teams on both teams, they kind of, make their way through this football game because it's usually a defensive battle. I'm looking for nothing less. We have to, again, make sure that we contain this football team because they are going to come out. They're going to come out aggressively, offensively. And when you watch them on film, they have been aggressive on offense. And just like any other Buddy Pugh football team, they're steady special teams wise. They're going to do what they do. They're not going to hurt themselves. So, we look for a great football game on Saturday.
Coach Sims, one additional question there. Is there anything unique about the fact that now this becomes a non-conference game, or is this more about the fact that both programs are looking to get that first win such that they can carry some momentum, whether it's back into conference races for either team?
It's absolutely about the win. It has absolutely nothing to do with the MEAC and us leaving the MEAC and them still being there. It's two football teams that are very familiar with each other, two football teams that are, built and equipped with athletes that can be successful at anytime on any play. And it's just us looking for a win. They're looking for a win. We're on 4, they're on 3. We're searching for a win. They're searching for a win. So I think that's absolutely the bottom line of it. We're both looking for a win, and I guarantee you it'll be a great football game on Saturday because we're both going to be trying to get that first W.
Certainly, Coach Sims. Thanks again. Good luck this weekend, and thank you, Andrew, for allowing me to jump back in there and ask a couple of extra questions.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Cavill. Coach Sims, as always, sir, we appreciate your time on these calls. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Coach. We now go to Florida A&M head coach Willie Simmons. I do believe I see Coach Simmons on the session. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Coach, as always, thank you for taking some time to join us here on these calls. Coach, if you could please just kind of start us out with an opening statement, kind of recapping your week and previewing your upcoming opponent.
Yeah, definitely. Much needed bye week last week, coming off of a hard-fought game against South Florida. Obviously had some guys banged up. Lost Christopher Dooley, our punter for the year. Lost R.J. Flowers, our starting defensive end, probably for the foreseeable future. The week before, lost Hunt to an ankle and Chad Hunter to an ankle. So great time to get some guys back healthy, work some fundamentals. First 3 games, we really shot ourselves in the foot in a lot of areas. So we wanted to go back to the drawing board, really just try to evaluate ourselves as a staff, see what we're doing well, what we're not doing well in all 3 phases, what we can improve upon, make some personnel decisions, and get ready for this 8-week stretch that we have coming up starting this week. We have an Alabama State team coming in who's coming off a huge win last week. They'll come in with a lot of momentum. They'll be fired up. I think, like I told the team, every team in the league, the 10 teams prior to this year, it seems like they all have a mission to try to indoctrinate us into the SWAC the right way. And this week will be no different. So we'll get their best shot. We have to prepare to play a sound football game. We don't have to be perfect, but we have to play a lot cleaner than we have in the first 3 games. So, but looking forward to it. Great atmosphere I anticipate here at Bragg Stadium. Alabama State's the closest team to us geographically. There's a huge Alabama State following here in the Panhandle of Florida. Here they're bringing a lot of buses, their band, their students. And so anticipating a great atmosphere. But this was one of the main reasons we got into the conference, to be able to have these type games with a lot riding on it and 2 really good football teams with great fan bases. So excited about the opportunity to get back on the field, and we'll tee it up Saturday at 6:00 and see what happens.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach Simmons. Our first question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Simmons, hope all is well.
Hey, Doc, how you doing?
Good to talk to you, getting a chance to finally ask a couple of questions. I wanted to ask, as you talked about yourselves getting healthy, getting back to the business of really looking at the technical components of the game, and then you expounded on the cultural aspects of Alabama State coming in. Being this is a conference game now, do you go schematically a little more deeper than you would do in non-conference games and things that you would get done in terms of your play calling, either on defense and or offense?
Well, we're going to do what we feel we need to do to win. That's always the goal when you take the field, prepare to win. Our job as coaches is to put these young men in the best position to be successful. I don't think it matters whether it's conference or out of conference as to how you prepare for the game. I think the only difference is maybe you look at if things kind of get out of hand. How do you, if the South Florida game had gotten out of hand, maybe we take Xavier Smith out a little bit sooner. Maybe we put in a young quarterback and see if he, get some more reps. But in a conference game, you're going to play it until the very last echo of the whistle to play the win. But again, first quarter, first half, you prepare the same. So our preparation isn't any different this week than it would be in any other week. We're trying to give these guys the best chance to go in with the game plan that they can execute and play fast and take the thinking out of it for them. So if we do that, I like our chances because obviously the first 3 weeks we put a little bit maybe more on them than offensively, particularly, than they can handle.
One quick follow-up question. Obviously, a lot of people think of your style in terms of the offensive side, which you've coached on as before you got into the head coaching side of it, but particularly this matchup, two strong defensive teams. Talk about the defensive side of some of the schematic problems that Alabama State brings to the table for your offense.
Yeah, no question about it. They're up in your face team. We just got through as a staff watching cut ups, and I haven't seen a snap other than man coverage so far. So they're going to challenge you. They're going to get in your face. They're going to use their length and their size and athleticism. They've done a great job recruiting guys that like to mix it up, and they play with confidence. So for us offensively, we have not had that breakout game yet, and so this will be a great game for us to do so. But we're going to be challenged from out wide to in the box, quarterback, you name it. And so it'll be a great opportunity for us as a football team to see if we're the team that we all think we can be. We talk about the playmakers we have outside. We talk about the depth we have in the backfield, the experience we have up front. It's time to show it. And this is a great test for us to show it this week. And I'm looking forward to the matchup.
Thank you, Coach Simmons. Good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Good morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, James.
The injury bug. Can you just express your thoughts on injuries and moving forward through those and working through those, and they're a part of the game?
Yeah, they are a part of the game. Unfortunately, when you play this sport, guys go down. Watching NFL yesterday, they had some major injuries. Losing Chris Dooley for the year obviously hurts us. Losing RJ for some weeks, obviously hurts us. But that's why you bring 110 plus guys to training camp. You try to get the next man prepared to play, and hopefully he's done enough to be ready to play. And so Jose Romo Martinez is more than prepared to replace Chris Dooley. He's got to serve dual capacity as a kicker and punter, but he's done it, and he should succeed at that role. At the defensive end spot, Deontay Williams assumes a full-time starting role now. Justin Cooks, Cameron Smith, those guys that have played in backup roles, we'll see their roles increase now, and that's what you work hard for. So hopefully those guys embrace those opportunities, and they play hard for their brother that's fallen and can't be there with them. But that's what makes good football teams is quality depth across the board.
Coach, looking at Alabama State University, the Hornets, they can sting, they can throw it around, they can run the ball. When you look at their offense, what do you see?
Well, you see a quarterback. It starts with the trigger man, and he's getting better with every game he plays. Started as a freshman, I think, this spring, and you can see that he's getting more and more confident. And so we're going to have to, pressure him. We're going to have to get him off his spot. They have speed in the backfield. They have size out wide, and so they're going to pose a challenge for our defense. Obviously, we've been playing good ball. Didn't have our best showing in our last game. So again, challenging these guys this week to get back to the level of play that we showed the first couple of weeks, and but we're going to need it, until we can really find our footing offensively. We're going to need a strong showing from our defense.
Thank you, sir. Good luck this week.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Donald Ware.
What's going on, Coach Simmons? How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Donald. How are you?
Doing great. So with Fadul being out, he's a pro prospect. He's done some really good things for you the last couple of years. What were the scouts saying that he maybe needed to do this year specifically, and how do you think the injury affects perhaps his playing at the next level next year?
Yeah, well, obviously, as a punter, the main thing they look for is consistency. At that level, you can't shank punts. You can't place it where it's not supposed to be. And so for him, he has the leg. He's always had the strong leg, averaging almost 50 yards to punt. So for him, it's about just consistency. And Chris hasn't been healthy other than one season. The 2018 season was the first season he was fully healthy in the elimination and punting. So for him, he's looking forward to rehabbing, coming back, fully healthy next season, and hopefully having a senior season injury-free where he can truly show the NFL scouts what he's truly capable of. And if he does that, I have no doubt that he'll be one of the top punters in all of America, not just FCS, and be able to realize his dream of playing professional football.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Coach.
Hey, Charles. How are you?
Doing well. Wanted to ask this question in terms of preparing for the Alabama State. You touched on it a little bit in terms of watching cut-ups, but Ezra Gray, one of the more dynamic performers in the league, hasn't quite gotten on track yet, but just talk about the sort of 1-2 punch they have with Corey Merritt and Ezra Gray in terms of getting ready to stop this Alabama State offense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our number one thing always is stop the run, so that starts with Ezra Gray. He's shown multiple times, during his career that he can change the game on one play. He's a dynamic player, great speed, great quickness. And so we're going to have to corral him, if he's back to full speed. I think he's been battling some injuries, but, we got to make sure we know where he is. And again, the other back has performed in his absence. And so, again, they have a good 1-2 punch. And, we have to be ready for that, obviously. So defensively, we have our hands full this week. And, but that's good. Defenses like challenges. And this is definitely going to be a challenge for us this week with their quarterback, with their skill guys, and the way they play up front. They play mean, nasty, and they want to establish the run. And our job is to stop the run. So that'll be one of the games within the game to see which team is able to impose their will in the trenches.
Sure thing. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Last question goes to Tally Carr.
Coach, I'm wondering, do you get an advantage when you have an extra week to prepare, or do you look at it like we're just going to wait to see what they put on film against Bethune-Cookman before we really dive into looking at what they do?
I think the bye week's only an advantage if you take full advantage of it, and you get the most out of it. And I thought our team did a really good job of channeling our energy and focus into the bye week, getting healthy, working on some fundamental things, and just getting back to the basics, and if you do that, I think the bye week can be at an advantage. Obviously, playing games helps you with repetition, but every team gets a bye, and when that bye happens, it's different. But some teams come off the bye fresh and recharged and ready to go. Some come off sluggish, and so hopefully for us, we come off energized. But if last night's practice was any indication, these guys will be spirited, and they'll come out with a lot of energy and enthusiasm and get ready to play a sound, hard-fought football game this coming Saturday.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Coach Simmons, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right, thank you, guys. Have a great one.
Now go to Grambling State and head coach Broderick Fobbs. I do believe I saw Coach Fobbs here on our session. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Prairie View A&M.
Well, it was a great environment, to play football. It's always great, to play in Dallas, but unfortunately we didn't play, as well as we were capable of playing. A lot of it had to do with, Prairie View A&M and their staff and their players. We turned the football over a couple of times in the red zone and also had a deflected interception that hurt us as well. And anytime you turn the football over, those type of football games, you're going to come in on the short end of the stick. And because of that, we did. They played really well. They made the plays that they needed to make, and they threw the football well and ran the football well, and really beat us.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open up for questions for Coach Fobbs. If you do have any questions, please utilize the raise your hand feature to get your question in the queue for Coach. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Fobbs, really want to talk about the execution of what you're working on with your players to continue to build the program and move it forward.
Well, everything starts, it begins and ends with our quarterback position. And, we haven't played well at that position in the last, 3 or 4 years. And, we feel that, that we have a kid that has the opportunity to be a really good quarterback for us. And, that's one position you just can't hide, and we were able to get him in there for the first time, on Saturday. And he played well, but he still has a lot to learn, and we got to get him caught to speed as quickly as possible because we're playing a really good football team, defending champions of our league.
Sounds like you're talking about Noah, if I'm not mistaken. Can you talk about his maturation? And it looks like you're thinking about playing him a little more moving forward.
Oh, yeah. We're definitely not thinking about it. We're playing it. We just feel he gives us the best option to win. We didn't feel he was ready week one. And then I didn't want to put him in there in week two and week three, versus, the two teams that we were playing. I wanted to make sure that we worked him in slowly, but also build a plan around him that will allow him to be successful. And we're going to let him go. We're going to let him roll and support him as much as we possibly can and give him the tools he needs in order to have a chance to win the football game.
Defense has been playing well, Coach. You come in against Alabama A&M that shows the ability to be explosive on offense. Can you talk a little bit about that particular matchup side of the game for the Tigers?
Well, it's really, a tough matchup. Glass and their coaching staff and their players, they do a really good job. They've scored a lot of points. They've played a lot of football, which helps. And it allows you to be successful. They've played against us before on several occasions and didn't get a chance to play against them in the spring. But, we are getting a chance to play against them this weekend. They're coming here. This is our first home game here at home. And we're excited about getting back on the field and getting back on the carpet.
Thanks, Coach Fobbs.
All right, thank you.
Next question goes to Mo Carter.
Coach Fobbs, hopes all is well in North Louisiana.
Hey, Mo, how you doing?
Doing well, sir, doing well. Well, of course, you're taking on Alabama A&M this upcoming week. When you take a look at Quill Glass and what this offense, does on a week-in to week-out basis, are there things that you notice that impress you that you didn't even realize from the previous time with what they're doing here in Huntsville?
No, he's always been impressive. We beat them, a couple of years ago, and then the year before that, we've always, looked at him on film and really it gets our tentacles up and get us prepared. Anytime you're playing against players of his magnitude and their team's magnitude and what they do offensively, you have to make sure you're ultimately prepared. And that's what we plan to do. He's an exceptional football player. They have playmakers that can help him and catch the football and make plays with their legs after the catch, and that's what it takes. And then, I think, in most cases, their defense gets overshadowed because their defense is really good as well. And they play really good team defense, which helps them to get the ball back to their offense.
Now, Coach, we were talking to Coach Maynor earlier this morning, and, he kind of pointed out that when it comes to playing Grambling, you guys have done a really good job kind of containing what Glass has been able to do. What are some of the things you think you're going to have to do this Saturday to kind of, keep that success from your defense standpoint when you take on Glass in that offense?
Well, it's just one of those situations, week in, week out, you try to do the same things. You try to take away, what a team does well and try to force them to do some other things. And you hope that works, and that's really, always, our plan is, to try to take away what a team does well, and I think, if you ask anybody else that about us, they'll say the same thing about us. You try to make people uncomfortable, try to get them off their spot and force them to move their feet and reset their feet and make throws. And then try to get them to play behind the chains. And that's really, what it's about, when you're playing football.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Good luck this week.
All right. Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Good morning, Coach Fobbs.
Good morning.
Sir, when you look at the the game this weekend, can you talk about their defensive side of the Bulldogs and what you see from a defensive perspective?
Well, they're really good up front, and they've always been good up front, when we've played against them in the past. But then, they have the length that they need in the secondary. They have really good players. Really all three levels, they have really good players. And there's been times when you look at them on film, they kind of give up some yards and things of that nature. But for the most part, they tighten their screws up, once they get in the red zone areas. And then they do a really good job of getting the ball back, for their offense, which is an explosive offense. So, we got our work cut out for us. We got to be able to not only run the football, but throw the football effectively. We got to score points, and then we got to play really good defense and play really good in the kicking game to win the football game.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Any final questions for Coach Fobbs? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We'll look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Coach. We're actually about a minute ahead of schedule, so we'll pause here just momentarily, and we'll be joined by head coach Doc Gamble with Arkansas Pine Bluff at 11:05 Central. Thank you for your patience. All right, looks like it is 11:05. We're happy to be joined by Coach Gamble. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing there at home against Alcorn State.
Well, number one, we didn't get it done. We didn't finish. The testament, played a good, well-coached Alcorn State football team, very tough. They didn't flinch. We played well for about 3.5 quarters. I thought we were hitting on all cylinders for a while. And then, the key turning point in the game for us is when our kicker got knocked out. He got knocked out and we weren't able to go for it. We had to go for it, from it eliminated us for kicking, going for field goals and even for extra points. We had to go for 2 and we wasn't able to go for a field goal that really could have helped us pad the lead for them. We kind of knew that they were going to have a run at some point because they know how to win and they've been champions before. They came out at the half, and the difference too is also Felix Harper played lights out later on. We had him under wraps for a while, but good players like that, you can only keep them down for so long. But you got to take care of business on the other end of it. And the thing that continued to hurt us a little bit is when we got momentum going on, and then we find ourselves behind the chains. So we got to stop being behind the chains, and they were able to get us behind the chains at times. And then also too, fumbleitis. We got a healthy dose of fumbleitis, especially once we're in position to possibly score some more points. We tend to get a ball over to the other team, but it was a good game. They were 1 point better, and they were 1 point better down the stretch when they need to be 1 point better. So, hats off to them.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open for questions for Coach Gamble. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Really unique situation where you're playing back-to-back Thursday games. Does it alter your preparation for Prairie View this week, or how exactly has that adjustment been?
Well, it altered us for last week because it was a shorter week, going from Saturday to Thursday. This week here has been a full week of preparation. Now it's just your body clock. That's the thing that's a little challenging. Being in here on a Sunday was typically the players' day off, and we're out there on the practice field on the Saturday while everybody else is playing, and then coming back here again on Sunday, the practice felt a little weird, but that's the thing you got to get used to, the changing your body clock, so it's it was a little different. Now today is a Monday, but typically, today will be a Wednesday for us, but today feels like Monday, so that's the thing for us that's a little different right now about playing on Thursdays.
Sure thing. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Gamble.
How you doing?
Doing well. Good to hear from you. I wanted to ask you about the onside kick and the aggressive nature that you play with. Was that something you saw on film or just an attitude that you wanted your team to play with?
Well, those things are, for us is we want everybody. We try to take advantage of every little aspect of the game, and we're very detailed in every little aspect of the game as well. So, and when you got a good kicker that could do those things for you, which we do in Zach, that allows us to do some of the things that we try to do. We just want to make people prepare for us, and we prepare for everybody else. As well, so it helps. They knocked Zach got knocked out of the game, and that kind of hurt us, So, and what's funny about it, I'm getting off track here a little bit, but I just had kicker tryouts on campus where we had a couple of soccer players come over and try out for us as well. So, and at some point it might come back to bite us, and it did last Thursday.
Understand that. I know you don't want to give away all the secrets to the thing, but were you able to bring in a kicker?
Hopefully we'll have Zach back this week. You know, it's we do have another kid. We have a punter that is outstanding. His name is Josh Sanchez, but he you know, that's what he is. He's a punter. You know, he's not a place kicker. Both guys are two different guys, and you know, as coaches, we got to make sure we're putting our players in position to be successful. And you know, somebody wanted us to run Josh out there to kick a PAT. I mean, to kick the field goal for us. Well, you know, if you ever had one of our practices, Zach is probably like 1 for 50 on field goals. So I couldn't do him like that. You know, so but we still, you know, at the end of the day, we got to be able to play some defense to get a stop and get off the field.
No problem, Doc. I want to be fair to my colleagues, and so if there's time, I'll come back in, but I want to make sure they get a chance to ask questions. With that, good luck this week.
All right, thank you.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach Gamble. After such a heartbreaking loss, what do you tell a new program such as yours to reinstill their confidence for the next week?
Well, this is a new for us, you know, for us losing back-to-back games, you know. So now we're trying to find out who our guys are as you know, the character part of it. But you know, we got good guys, and they've shown up, came back right back to work the next day. You know, we pointed out our errors and you know, and getting them corrected, and they will be corrected. And you know, so we'll see how it plays out this Thursday. But you know, it would be the same. You're going to see the same UAPB football team that's going to be that's going to play tough. You know, we're going to play smart. We're going to take better care of the football. You know, our history right now in SWAC play as it has been, we get a big lead, and then we allow teams to fight back to get back into the game. So that's one area that we got to be better at and improve at.
And another question, Coach. Tyron Ralph and Skylar Perry are significant contributors to your program, both being from New Orleans. And as I look at your roster, I see that you have a steady pipeline of Louisiana kids, and more specifically, New Orleans. I realize that a number of them were recruited by folks that are no longer at University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. However, do you plan on continuing recruiting heavily in the New Orleans, Louisiana area?
Well, Tyron is the only guy that's on from Louisiana that I didn't recruit and that we didn't recruit. He was here when we got here. Now, the rest of the guys I personally recruited. You know, from everywhere I've been, every school I've been at, I've always recruited New Orleans. All right, so I know the area really well, and I've actually had the whole state. But New Orleans has been really good for us, and in the Baton Rouge area has been great as well. So I personally had a hand in recruiting those guys and being able to develop those relationships with the high school coaches down there. And I'm typically right now, I'm down there so much they kind of think I was born and raised down there. So, but I'm usually one of the first phone calls when they got a guy that they'll call me, and then just try to make sure, you know, because one, we do look out for our guys. You know, we take good care of them. And we're gonna make sure that they graduate. So even going back to my last school at Kent State, and even when I was at Alcorn before, I always had New Orleans, and I've really been recruiting down in University of Cincinnati. I've really started been recruiting down there since 2011. Now, and then I played high school ball. I played college football with guys from New Orleans. So I've been able to lean on those guys for a while. So I know the area really well, and those guys have all been really good students for us, and that's also good people. And they just happen to be good football players as well.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Next question goes to IC Morrell.
Good morning, Coach. How you doing?
Good. How about yourself, IC?
All good, sir. So just to be clear about the kicking situation, you hope to have Zach in for Thursday's game. Excuse me. Are you bringing in anybody? You said you had some soccer guys that you tried out. Are you bringing anybody in just in case for for kicking duties? Because it seems like you just want to hold Josh to the punting game.
Yeah. Well, we don't have soccer guys. We have soccer girls, gals that and it's two of them that can kick it pretty good. You know, so And they actually did it in high school. But our soccer coach, Coach Sahlberg, was real good at, as long as they don't have a play, he said, I hope you never have to use them. And I said, I hope so too. So, but I think that, that's something. I think Zach will be back, and I told Josh in front of the team, and I said, we all know Josh is not our place kicker, but if he had to get it done, he's going to have to get it done. And we're going to get some extra work here this week with him. So bottom line, and, we'll have a plan, going forward and we'll make it work.
Okay. And then the pass defense, Coach, I know you had this problem right after the Central Arkansas game, trying to contain their quarterback, and then Harper warmed up in the second half. How do you address the woes of the pass defense?
We just got to continue we got to look at what we do best and just do that and do it really, really, really well. We played two dynamic quarterbacks the last 2 weeks that really, and it's not the drop back game, it's the scramble game. They've been able to scramble because we get after you defensively, but the scramble game of it, they've been really accurate when scrambling. And I know Prairie got another good quarterback as well. So, and really, when you look down the schedule, everybody's going to have a good quarterback. We just got to find out what we really do best on the back end, and then we got to rep the mess out of it and do it really, really good on game night.
Thanks very much, Coach.
Yeah.
Try to get two more questions in here real quick. Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach Gamble. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
When you look at Prairie View, the A&M, the Panthers, can you talk a little bit about some of the things that impress you about that football team?
Yeah, they're good and sound in all areas. The head coach, he has a creative mind offensively. They're gonna do some things. They got a good quarterback. They're really good when they got a quarterback and they got one and pass. He's good and he's accurate. They're gonna play you well. They're gonna scheme you well. Defensively, they're really good up front. And you got a couple other guys that I've recruited before in the past. I saw Jason Dumas down at the SWAC Media Day, and spoke to him and asked him how his mom was doing, and I spent some time in there trying to recruit him here, and I did in the home visit. I said, hey, your mom probably don't remember me. He said, no, she remember you because you wouldn't leave. So, but they got a good one there, and him and some other guys are good around them, and they're playing good football. They're 3-1 for a reason, and so it'll be a good challenge there on Thursday night.
In closing, is this a game where you just want to play from whistle to whistle the entire game, all 4 quarters?
Yeah, we got to put it together from start to finish. Bottom line, from start to finish, and we got to get rid of that bug, that little disease that we got called fumbleitis. We got to get that out of our system right now. We can get that out of our system. We got a chance to be really good.
Thanks, Doc. Have a good one.
All right, thank you.
Last question goes to Ty Miller.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Ty?
I'm pretty good. I know you got the game coming up against Thursday against Prairie View, and we all want to know about that game, but we just cannot get off that game last Thursday.
Yeah.
A couple of things about it. The 24-hour rule, did you institute that after the game, that 24 hours to get over this game and move on to the next game? And secondly, a lot of second guessing going on in that game from people like us who cover the teams about that 4th down call to go for it. We did not know that there was a kicker issue. So what does it say about what you all know as coaches in the heat of battle on the sideline, as opposed to what we sometimes may not know as media members?
Well, you always got to, it's always what Monday morning quarterbacks and Sunday morning quarterbacks and armchair quarterbacks and coaches as well. It's something, we're not able to hold up a flag and say, or a banner and say, hey, our kicker's down and guys, we got to go for it. You're going to have people heckling, and we got to just let them heckle. We just got to do what we got to do as make decisions that's best for our team. And going forward on 4th down was best for our team. Like I said, I couldn't run out there and kick it because if Josh Sanchez will make 1 out of 50, I'm going to make 0 out of 50. So, we just had to do what's best for us. And going forward at that time was the best thing for us to do. And to be honest with you, when we do go for it on 4th down, we expect to get it. We expect to convert it. So we weren't able to do that. But, going back, I think that that would have helped us tremendously in that game if we were able to get 3, because we call Zach Mr. Automatic. And if he had been healthy and ready and able to run out there, I think he would have made it.
And Coach, finally, it's a crucial 2-game stretch here where you could lose back-to-back SWAC games and find yourself in a deep hole. So what do you do to make sure, I know you got to win the game, you want to win the game, to make sure that loss doesn't hamper you for the rest of the season?
You got to keep it moving. It's on to the next. I think I'm the only guy that's in this building that hold on to win losses a little bit longer than everybody else. So, even for myself is to move on to the next. Like you mentioned, 24-hour rule. We just got to make sure, that 24-hour rule stayed at 24 hours and not on to the next day. You address it and then you move it on, you flush it and then move on to the next. So now it's the next man up and next team up, and we got to go 1-0 this week.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Coach Gamble, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it, Coach. We now go to Mississippi Valley State head coach Vincent Dancy. Coach, we do appreciate your patience. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing against Southern.
I thought we started out fast. I thought we started out how we wanted to start the game out. Came out and held those guys to 3 points in the opening drive. We came out and capitalized with a touchdown. I just thought that in that first half we gave up too many big plays in the passing game, but I think that it was one penalty that I think allowed them to, to regain the momentum when, it was a pass interference called on our guys and they was able to keep the ball for a while that first half. I think they had an 8-minute drive. So I think that kind of hurt us a little bit defensively, kind of wore our guys down in that first half. But then in the second half, I thought we came out and did a great job on offense. We scored three possessions in a row. Again, defense, we just gave up too many big plays on a good team, and that's something you can't do, and they capitalize on it. But overall, I thought we played a hell of a football team, but I thought we competed. I thought we gave ourselves chances to win the game, but we just didn't win the game.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We're up for questions for Coach Dancy. First question goes to Perry Daniels.
Coach Dancy, good morning. Your defense is flying around the field to the ball, so impressive that some coaches I've heard label you as possibly the best winless team in the country. Can you talk about what it's going to take to finally get the Delta Devils into the win column?
I'll continue just playing. Like you said, I think our defense has been playing good, but I think we've been playing too fast. At times we overplay plays, and I think that hurt us this week, playing too fast, and they was able to counter that with a lot of misdirection on boot actions because we play too fast. But I think we're headed in the right direction. Our offense is doing what I thought they would do once we got the SWAC play, and that was gain chemistry and continuity. We were able to run the ball well, but we also was able to pass the ball this game. We had over 300 yards total offense, I think right at 335. And I think, our goal is to get 400, and we right on pace for that. We had 3 receivers with touchdowns. So I think we're doing what we need to do. We just need to eliminate mistakes. We had another interception this game, but they didn't score off that interception. But defensively, we just got to stop giving up the big plays. I think once we minimize the big plays in the passing game, that we'll put ourselves in position to win those games. Because I really thought that we had the keys to success, but we just didn't execute down the stretch. Because I think our guys scored 3 possessions in a row offensively, but then they answered those three scores with scores. So we can't give a good team those touchdowns, especially big play touchdowns.
Southern University started a different quarterback than they had been starting all season. Did that surprise your team at all? And was there, did that surprise your team at all? And how did that impact the game?
No, sir, because we prepared for both quarterbacks. We knew we would see both because we seen both on film, and we knew both of those quarterbacks brought different elements to the game. Skellin wanted to run the ball, and I think McDaniel was their passing quarterback. So we knew that, and we understood that. Like I said, it was just a lot of a lot of different plays, a lot of different looks they gave us because we are such a fast defense and we do fly around and fly to the ball, that a lot of different misdirections off boots and nakeds that kind of hurt us in the passing game.
Next question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Dancy, last weekend you talked a little bit about refocusing the team and really dissecting some things. And it seems like you were able to get some more accomplishments in terms, particularly on offense. Can you talk about that a little bit, about that inner look?
Like I said, we wanted to, we made a change at quarterback. We brought in Jelani Easton, who brings a different element to the game than Connor does. Jelani's able to run the ball. We're able to run more read option plays with him and get another defender in the box so we can open up our passing game. So once we did that, Southern was trying to put 8 men in the box a lot of times. A lot of times they went with a different front, a different look, just trying to stop the run. So that was opening up our passing game in which we knew that would happen. So that's kind of the changes that we wanted to make. But defensively, like I said, that's our second week in a row, giving up those big passing plays, those big passing touchdowns that hurt us. I thought offensively we did a good job, especially after halftime. We're making some great adjustments and being able to continuously to score, put touchdowns on the board. But defensively, like I said, we just gotta stop the big plays. And I think once we do that, those are correctable plays. We'll be a better team, but put ourselves in better position to win these games.
Talking about putting yourself in a better chance of winning the games, moving forward to this week, you have North Carolina Central coming into town. They had a tough game last week, but I know this is more about the Delta Devils, but it's also homecoming. Right. Based on what took place Sunday, at least offensively, and the defense still flying around the ball, do you have to do much to get your team's attention off of homecoming and focus on the game? Or because of the success that they had in some areas, do you think they'll be more focused and looking forward to the Eagles in this de facto MEAC SWAC challenge matchup?
No, I think our focus will remain the same. We want to win. Our guys want to win, and they understand that we can win. At the end of the day, they're focusing on first of all just getting this game behind us. It's going to be a short week for us. Playing on a Sunday puts us right back in preparation mode. We really didn't have. We do have a day off, but it's really not a day off because we got to get right back to work. But our whole goal is to win, and I think our guys understand that. So, homecoming is just for the fans and not for the players. So these guys will be strictly focused on trying to beat North Carolina Central, which is a good football team. We seen them open up against Alcorn, and they won that game. But lately they've been having some been suffering a couple of losses, and I think we just got to focus on what's at hand, what's at stake, and that's winning this football game, being able to stop a good North Carolina Central football team who likes to run the ball, and we know we have to stop the run, but they do have a prolific receiver on the edges, so we have to stop that kid as well.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Last question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. I just want to kind of go back to talking about your running back. Can you just kind of highlight and kind of talk about Caleb Johnson in yesterday's game?
Man, as you can see, he's a handful. Week in and week out, that young man brings us and puts us in position to win every game. He's a dynamic back. He can do it all. He's a tough downhill runner, but he can get to the outside. He can catch it out of the backfield. We do a lot with him, but he's a special kid. He's a special talent, and just thankful he's on our football team. As you seen yesterday, he eclipsed another 100-yard gain off 19 carries. He's right at 4.8, almost 5 yards a carry. He was hard to bring down. Two guys couldn't bring him down, but also he was elusive as well. He was able to break through, make people miss. But the kid is just a dynamic young man, and I'm glad to just have him on this football team.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Dancy, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it, Coach. We now go to Prairie View A&M and head coach Eric Dooley. I do see Coach Dooley joining us. Good morning, Coach.
Morning.
Coach, if you would please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent victory over Grambling State.
Well, we had to prepare for a State Fair Classic, which has become a huge event right now, and I knew that a Grambling football team, I know it's going to be well coached. I know they were going to play hard for 60 minutes, so we know we had our challenges. So we had to prepare to play some good football. Fortunate enough, we were able to get off to a fast start. We've been doing that for the last couple of games, so we was able to get off to a fast start, and our defense played some good football where we were able to get the football back and continue to move forward. But the challenges still remain throughout the whole game. But I thought our guys fought hard and continued to play hard for 60 minutes. And fortunate enough, we came out with the W.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We're now up for questions for Coach Dooley. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach Dooley, wanted to talk about the Prairie View game from the defensive side. Your defense continues to play some tremendous football most of the season. Talk what you're doing on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, they a couple of years now, those guys are in the system and they understand the system well, and I think they're just playing hard. The coaches are doing a great job of putting a great game plan together for whatever team we've been facing. Been facing some dynamic offenses, so we know it's going to always be a challenge. But I like what we're doing defensively. We added some depth to our team, so it just makes it for a better type situation for us on the defense side of the ball.
Offensively, you were able to have some solid drives. Grambling seems to come in with a solid defense. Talk about what you were able to do or weren't able to do offensively this past weekend.
Well, I knew they were going to play sound defense. I know the defense also well, but I do commend our guys. They stuck, they hung in there. We were able to throw the football around a little bit, but we wanted to be able to establish the run, and I thought those guys did a great job in the third and fourth quarter for us running the football. But some things that I thought that we left on the carpet, but those are corrections, and now we just got to make sure we correct those mistakes and move forward.
One last question in regards to this early Thursday game. Talk about what you look at doing with this game coming up against the Golden Lions.
Well, as far as preparation, we just got to move everything forward. It's a little different now. It's a short week. We just came off a game. You're talking about Saturday. We had to start everything off Sunday, but we know we're going to be facing an explosive offense and a defense that have brought some guys in and they're playing with a lot of confidence. So we just got to make sure we do the things that we're capable of doing, just correct Prairie View and get better.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to IC Morrell.
Coach Dooley, how you doing, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
Just fine. Appreciate it. Hey, look, I know you've been at Prairie View for a while now, but you being a former offensive coordinator at UAPB, do you feel like that you've been able to build up the Prairie View football program in the direction that you wanted to go in the time that you've been there?
Absolutely. I like where we are right now. I came in, of course, I came in with the offensive mind, but I still wanted to build inside out. And what I mean by that, build inside out, I wanted to make sure that I took care of both offense and defensive line. I thought the defensive line now is coming for what I was looking for. Still need some pieces when you talk about the offensive line, but I like where we are as far as a team. There's always room for more growth, but I think our coaches did a great job going out, getting the guys that fit our system.
Yeah. And what concerns you most about the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff going into Thursday's game?
Well, they score points. They score points, and when you face a team that have some similarities to what you like doing, is always a challenge. But I know they're going to score points. But more importantly, when I take a look at their defense, they got some guys in that they brought in, and they're playing an exciting defense, playing with a lot of confidence. The thing I think that is the missing point when you look at their special teams put them in great field position. A lot of times gives them a lot of points. So we're going to have to be it's a challenge in all three phases of the game, and that's how it should be. We're going to compete at all levels, with offensively, defensively, as well as special teams.
Thanks very much for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to Charles Bishop.
Coach, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I wanted to ask, the State Fair Classic is always a huge game for Prairie View and Grambling. How do you protect or keep Prairie View from having an emotional letdown from this huge game with Grambling?
Well, because our guys understand we approach every game as a big game, and it's only a big game because it's the next game. I know a lot of coaches have that in their philosophy, but that's what we teach and preach around here, and our guys have accepted it and have really adopted it well. They understand that, we had stages when we first got here, what we had to learn to do. We had to learn how to handle success. Then we had to learn how to win close ball games. All that came together, understanding the highs and the lows, that every game is a big ball game, especially when you talk about, I have a lot of pride when you talk about the SWAC, and I think we got a lot of got great football teams in the SWAC, great coaches. So we know every game is going to be very, very competitive. So we understand that each game is big for us.
Sure thing. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Coach Dooley, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
Awesome. Looking at winning streaks, that can help move a season into a very successful season. Can you just talk about going forward? And it's the Golden Lions, it's UAPB, Prairie View, and it will be a very good game.
We cannot move forward looking in the rearview mirror. So the success that we have had in one ball games, we have to drop that off, and we got to move forward. Our goal right now is just to go 1-0, and that's a very good Golden Lion football team coming in here on Thursday. So we know we got to be prepared for a good football team. You're talking about a team that's on the western side. So the competition never gets any lighter. So we up for the challenge and be ready for a good football game on Thursday.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Any final questions for Coach Dooley? Coach Dooley, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thanks for having me.
We now go to Southern Jaguars and head coach Jason Rollins. I do see Coach here joining us. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning.
Coach, as always, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. If you would, Coach, please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent victory over Mississippi Valley State.
It was a good trip, a rare Sunday afternoon football game against a very tough physical Mississippi Valley team. Came out, played hard the first half, win with a good lead at halftime. Come out in the second half, had a few guys that didn't come back. We lost a few guys inside our defensive line. A cornerback here, our safety didn't play, and so we were able to get a chance to see the depth of our defense, and it was a good challenge. Caleb Johnson's a really good running back, and had a pretty good day against us. But really excited about our offense. They came out without several key players and moved the ball fairly well. Made some plays down the field in the passing game, which was good for us. Glenda McDaniel had a really solid night for us, and we're excited about what he did for us this Sunday. So we're happy to come out with a SWAC victory, which is always a good thing.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll now open it for questions for Coach Rollins. First question goes to Keisha Keller.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win yesterday. I guess the normal question would, of course, be to ask the decision to start Glendon McDaniel. Why that decision will be my first question.
Well, at the moment, he gave us the best chance to win a football game. We felt that Glendon McDaniel is prepared. He had a really good week. He had an opportunity to play against Miles College and led us to a victory in that game. So what he showed on the film and all throughout camp, he gave us the best opportunity to win the football game with a not 100% Ladarius Skelton.
Okay, and then my second question would be, can you just kind of talk about highlight Devon Bean? He had a pretty big game as well.
Devon has played a lot of snaps in college football, so he's a leader on our offense because he brings like a common factor to our offense. So when he's out there, he's seen a lot. He knows protections. He knows defenses, and he's a vocal leader as well as an active leader. So it's good to have him out on the field, and you can see the difference when he's there. He can get the tough yards, but he can also get explosive runs for us.
Thanks, Coach.
Next question goes to Perry Daniels.
Good morning, Coach. So Have we seen the last of Ladarius Skelton at quarterback, barring injuries to McClendon?
No, we have not. You know, when you have a talent such as Ladarius Skelton, you just can't let it sit on the shelf. So he'll be still playing football for us.
So does that mean maybe on the field with McClendon, or help me comprehend your statement there?
Well, everything is by game plan. So if the game plan permits, then it may be. If the game plan doesn't, then it may not. But we can't let a guy like that sit on the sideline that's won a lot of games for us.
Can you speak about the opponent you just played, Mississippi Valley, and the way that team played against you? Did that surprise you at all, the way they came out? Just talk about their program.
I'll tell you what, we've been saying all week, and if you listen to any of the last press conference, they are a really solid, sound fundamentally, and very well coached football team that plays extremely hard. They have a veteran ball club that's played a lot of football together, so they have great team chemistry. If you watched the last game before, it was just turnovers and miscues that kept them out of the game. But, they made a quarterback change and went to their brand of football, which is kind of smash mouth, and made you defend the +1 quarterback run. So you had to defend the full field without having a pocket passer. So when you put that +1 quarterback run in, now you have to pick your poison, if you will. So they can get a number with you on the run game with using a quarterback. And then you have to play an 8-man front to stop that +1. And then now they have an opportunity to complete a few passes, if you will. So it was a good game plan for them. Good game plan. Good team.
Next question, Klein Peter.
Yeah, Coach, after watching the film, you were disappointed in the inconsistency of your defense in the game. What did you see after rewatching the film, rewatching the game on tape?
I saw the guys are in place to make plays. They just have to make the play. It wasn't any gaping holes. Just guys were just there to make plays, and you just have to make a play. And that's the challenge this week to make the play when your number's called.
Okay, and you have an off week now. What is your schedule going to be? You're going to give your players some time off? What kind of schedule? What do you want to accomplish?
Well, they have a normal week outside of playing a game on Saturday. So we have to work on all 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams, and also get healthy. The bye came at the right time. You play 4 games after going through a 4-week training camp. So this is 8 weeks in. So this is a good time to have a bye. But everything's going to remain the same outside of a Saturday game.
Are you going to have a practice on Friday?
It'll be the same schedule as we would have on a Friday. Fridays are normally our mock game, a walkthrough. So we'll have the same thing.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Currently taking questions for Coach Rollins with Southern. Any final questions for Coach? Final questions for Coach Rollins. All right, we'll take a question from Dr. Cavill.
Coach Rollins, just wanted to go back over that game a little bit in terms of Mississippi Valley State and playing on the Sunday. Was that much of a challenge to have that delay, and how does that affect you moving forward?
It was different. It was my first time having a Sunday game, so a learning experience, but I don't think that affected us in any way at all. Gave us an extra day to prepare, as well as gave them an extra day to prepare, and also an extra day to get guys healthy, another day of treatment. So it was different, but it was good to have that experience going forward.
I know in many institutions for your athletes, your academic unit does the progress report, so you can just keep up with the athletes. If you had opportunity, I know it's early, but this part of the early, what is your progress report on what you're seeing from your team, both offensively, defensively, and special teams?
Well, I'll tell you what, offensively, I think we're running the ball exactly how we want to run it. Defensively, we need to be a little more consistent in defending the run. Special teams, when you lose a starting punter that's all conference and a starting kicker that's all conference, there's some chemistry issues that has to get jailed, if you will. So it was good this past week to see Luke Jackson kick a 43-yard field goal, being that he was a freshman, where, when you had Cesar Bahara that was there, that was 4-year starter, you lose that. That leaves that's a big difference in your special teams as far as the kicks and the punts. and the ball placement on the punts. And so that's kind of what we're going to work on this bye. We've been working throughout this whole the first 4 games, if you will, on that progress report of finding that guy.
Thank you, Coach, for your time. Great information and perspective. Good luck moving forward.
Thank you.
Any final questions for Coach? Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you.
We now go to Texas Southern. Head Coach Clarence McKinney. I do see Coach McKinney on the call. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How's it going?
Great, Coach. Appreciate you asking. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent game on the road against Rice.
Yeah, went across the street, played Rice in a tough game. Thought our guys started a little slower than what we normally would like for them to start, but we fought hard through the end of the game. Saw a lot of improvements throughout our team and from our previous couple games. So we think we're trending in the right direction. We just got to fix some things defensively and continue to improve offensively.
Thank you for those comments, Coach McKinney. We'll now open it up for questions. Coach McKinney with Texas Southern. First question goes to Dr. Cavill.
Coach McKinney, looks like you took full advantage of the week off, obviously maybe to get a little healthier, but also in terms of just making a decision in terms of your quarterback play. Can you talk a little bit about the freshman there, Body?
Yeah, Andrew's a very talented young man. It's just we're excited about him going forward. We knew coming into this season that he wasn't quite ready, didn't quite have a grasp of our scheme, and he's still doesn't. He's not at the level that we'd like for him to be at, but he has the ability to make plays on his own, and it's great to see him go out there and have some success this past weekend.
What do you think overall that you were able to do in terms of the offensive side of the ball? Were that some of the adjustments that you made over the weekend in terms of getting better on offense?
I don't think it was the adjustments. I just think we were more consistent in what we were trying to do. Our guys just across the board, up front, on the perimeter, in the backfield. Once we get rolling, it's about those 11 guys all doing their job at the same time.
Talk about this homecoming matchup this weekend before you get into the rest of the conference play. What are some things that, outside of obviously getting a win, what are some other things that you want to get done, particularly this week, getting prepared for this matchup that will hopefully help you throughout the rest of the season?
The big thing for us is just to continue to improve, to continue to go in the right direction. We definitely want to get a win this week. So when we head back into our conference play, we'll have some confidence. But we just want to continue to trend in the right direction and improve offensively, improve defensively, and continue to be solid within our special teams game.
One last question for me. Defensively, where are some things that you want to do, improve on the defensive side? Is it schematic, or is it about just players matching up and doing what they've been taught to do?
It's a little bit of both. We got to tighten up the scheme, and then the players got to go out and execute. And we definitely we're missing some guys defensively, and we got to get healthy and get those guys back. And so once we get those things in place, we feel like defensively we got to get off the field and give our offense the ball and give them an opportunity to put points on the board.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hello, Coach. How are you, sir?
Yeah, how's it going, James?
Pretty good. Your schedule includes a few games throughout Texas on the road and, of course, at home. But when you play around the Lone Star, talk about how that can be good for recruiting in statewide, where guys can look at your program and see you guys play.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge help in recruiting when you play at home or you play within the state where guys can come out and take a look at your team and see what we're building and want to be a part of it. So it makes it a lot more convenient for those guys to come and look at us, and it makes it convenient for us to go out and evaluate those games on Friday night. You're on mute, James.
Okay. Is there anything in particular you can take from the Rice game as you go forward?
I just think we improved as a team. I think our guys are starting to believe that we can be a really good team, and we just got to continue to improve in all phases of the game. It's not one thing that I can put my finger on. It's just the total aspect of playing football. We just got to continue to grow, and we got a young team, and we got to get those guys matured in a hurry.
Coach, last question. Coaching a football team during a pandemic, the protocols, and what has that been like for you guys personally?
It's been a huge adjustment. You know, we follow all the county protocols. I would say about 85% of our team is vaccinated, and so that's been a huge help. So when a guy who's not vaccinated comes down with the illness, we don't have to shut down as we did in the spring. So it's definitely been a challenge, but it's just a way of life for everyone around the country these days.
Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Currently taking questions for Coach McKinney with Texas Southern. Coach, I just have one quick question. As far as special teams, Richard Garcia, perfect on his point after kicks this past week, also connected on 2 field goals of 45 and 25 yards. Can you talk a little bit about his performance as he was named SWAC Specialist of the Week?
Yeah, Rich has been very consistent since the day he stepped on campus. And when we send him out to kick field goals, kick extra points, I mean, we feel like it's a guarantee that we're going to come away with 3 points. Our guys up front, they understand that if they block for him, that he has a strong, accurate leg, and we have a lot of confidence in him. We're very proud of Richard and things that he's done for the team. And we look forward to him continuing to do those same things in the future.
Any final questions for Coach McKinney? Final questions. All right, Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you for having us, Angel.
Thank you. Coach Sanders joining us. Good morning, Coach.
How you doing, everybody?
Great, Coach, as always. Thank you so much, Coach, for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing versus Delta State.
We were blessed enough to get the victory over Delta State. That was not without challenge. Let me tell you something. Delta State came here to play. They played a physical, tough, confident ball game. They ran the ball fairly well. They did a little bit in the passing game, but they put up a darn fight for the entirety of the game, and they really had us on our heels going down to the wire in the fourth quarter. Hats off to their coaching staff. Hats off to their kids. Tremendous challenge, man. I'm pleased with our kids, the way we performed, the way we were steadfast, the way we brought it home, and we held on for victory. We could improve in so many areas, but that's all about football. It's all about coaching. It's all about progression. But it was a tremendous game, and hats off to the whole staff of Delta State.
Appreciate those comments, Coach. We'll open up for questions for Coach Sanders. First question goes to Charles Bishop.
Good morning, Coach.
How you doing, sir?
Hey, I want to start off just by asking how important is this bye week in regards to the health of your football team?
It's important. I don't like bye weeks, actually. I like to just play continuously. Like, let's just run it through, get it over with, and everybody deals with the same situations. Health-wise, we could use it. We could use it. I know our quarterback is banged up. Our defensive ends are Gaddy, I think, is banged up. 99 is banged up as well. We have several guys. Shane, I think he's the receiver. I think Hooks. He's banged up as well. Several guys need some rest. Hopefully they can get it back going because, my rule is you don't practice, you don't play. So hopefully they're back ready to go on Sunday evening when we resume practice after having a break for a few days.
Sure thing. And the next question I want to ask is, we had this City of Soul weekend with Jackson State and Delta State, as well as Mississippi Valley and Southern. Jackson also had the SWAC championship this past spring, but I just want to get your thoughts in regards to Jackson almost kind of positioning itself as sort of the center of the conference as a destination place.
Well, it's not it's factual that we have the largest attendance in FCS football, period. It's a phenomenal city. I know we're laced with crime like everyone else and things of the ordinary like everyone else, and we could do so much better in those areas. But I feel as though Jackson is a destination. It's a place, the hotel accommodations, the citywide accommodations, few attractions as well. It's a wonderful place to come for events like such as this. I wish we'd have done a better job of promoting the City of Soul. I was at brunch, my normal brunch, Sunday afternoon, baby, about 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah, with Shador, we eat every Sunday at the Western. Tell him all my business. I'm crazy. We eat every Sunday at the Western. And Coach came up from Mississippi Valley and said, hey, we played today. I'm like, I ain't know y'all played today. I didn't even know there was a game. Then I wanted to, crazy. I'm changing all my plans to go support the SWAC until my lady say, do you understand you just had surgery? Can you take your butt home and sit down somewhere? She said it just like that, like she was my mama. And then my mama echoed what she said. So I took my butt home and sat down somewhere. But I wanted to go support the SWAC and because those are two great schools, great traditions, and I love those coaches.
Sure thing. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, my man.
Next question goes to James Hill.
Hey, Coach Prime, it's James Hill with BNC Sports. The conversation of HBCU student athletes getting drafted, moving on and playing on Sundays, like you were able to do. Can you talk about what you see from a coach's perspective, Jackson State players, and then there's Mr. Glass, who you will see shortly. Guys want to play, and they're hungry to compete and make it to the league.
Everybody do, not just the guys from the SWAC. Everybody wants to. There's only so many spots. There's only so many people can play, and you got to be good enough. You got to have the intangibles that you can play. It's one thing to say I want to play. There's another thing to have what it takes to play. The guy that you mentioned, Kill Glass, he's a phenomenal player. I feel like he's a professional athlete. I feel like he can make a roster of a professional team just based on what I've seen of him. In the moments I've seen him play and watched him on film, although I think he has another game this week, then he gets to us. But that kid is phenomenal. The staff does a wonderful job of putting him in the right positions. He had a wonderful support group of receivers around him, and the line protects him pretty well. But when you're talking about going to the next level of the NFL, you got to be dominant. You got to be dominant in the SWAC. You got to be understanding that you're so credible and you're so good that you stand out. Whenever you're out there, you got to stand out, stand up, and go 100. Leave it without a shadow of a doubt that you're a professional quality athlete, and maybe you'll get that opportunity. That's with anybody, though. That's just not the SWAC. That's SEC players and anybody. You got to seize the moment. Scouts are watching. It's no excuse now that they're not watching. People are watching.
And finally, your football team getting better every day. You get a bye week, and you guys march forward. Talk a little bit about your program.
We're coming. We're coming. As a coach, you got to understand, I see so many holes. I see so many things that we could be better at. And we worked on them starting today. We're trying to fill some of the holes that we found. We're trying to right some of the wrong that we found in our armor. And we're just trying to do a better job. We're just trying to get 2-3% better every day we go out there on the field. And the guys, they want it. They really want it. I'm happy with the win. Definitely, it's much better to coach from a winning perspective than a losing perspective. Whoever said different was an idiot. But I love where we are, but I want to be so much farther down the road, and I think we can.
Thank you, Coach Prime, and that's a nice scooter you have, my man.
I appreciate it. Which one? I got several.
The one you had one the other day at the game.
Okay, the big one. The big.
Yeah,
Yeah. I got a little one too. I got a couple little ones in here. I'm looking at them right now. I just mess with you. Thank you.
Man. Thank you.
Next question goes to Keisha Kelly.
Hey, Coach. Keisha Kelly, Black College Experience. My first question would be, I would say, how is the healing process coming after the surgery? How's that foot coming along is my first question.
Well, I said we're pretty good. We're pretty good right now. We're pretty good.
And then my second question, and I hope you.
I got a fine nurse that's taking care of me. Ain't that right, baby? I got a fine nurse that's taking care of me in the healing process. Nights are not good for me. Nights are not good. I'm calling on it. If it was any doubt that I'm saved, my lady would verify that I am saved because I call on Jesus all night. Don't I, baby?
Sure does.
There you go.
And then my second question, in the vet on Saturday, what was that atmosphere like? That red out. What was that atmosphere like over there?
I love seeing it. I love that we understand what W.C. Gordon brought to the table, what he brought to the game, when he brought in the red. And this is an honor for the late, greatest coach that would ever live in JSU history, W.C. Gordon. So it was tremendous to see a sea of red in the vet. It really was. I'm so proud of our fans. I'm so proud of the alumni, the student, everybody, man, the fan base that we carry. I'm really proud that they can support us in the way they do. I always want more because I'm a father and I'm a coach as well. So you always want more. And I want more and I expect more. But we're doing a phenomenal job, I feel.
All right, get better, coach.
Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you.
Next question goes to Mark Gray.
And the next question.
Mark, you're on mute there. Mark, you're on mute.
Oh, you got me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How you doing, Coach? I just wanted to ask you, going into the bye week, you mentioned like you were not necessarily satisfied with where you are, but where you're looking to improve. But the growth of a season where you got to take the steps in order to be ready at the moment to compete for the big prize. How many building blocks are you along in order to, get what you ultimately play for every year?
I don't go by blocks, man. I go by winning. I mean, we want to win. Ain't but one person can win at the end. We want to be in that circle. We want to be in that dance. We want to be that person. So if we could just continuously do the little things and correct and perfect the little things are not just football related. The little things is hitting your schoolwork. The little things is being on time for tutoring. The little things is making sure you come out here with your mind focused and on point when it's time to practice and going full speed in each drill and not just trying to get through and get by practice. So it's so many little things that attribute to success. It's unbelievable. And the coaches have a responsibility too. They got to be on their games. They got to coach their best. They got to prepare the kids and put the kids in the environment that's conducive to their success. So there's so many hands involved. There's so many intricate details involved in getting to the next level and where we want to be. And that's the ultimate champions. That's all. That's all we think about. It ain't no other place than first.
So how do you do you school this generation of kids like you were schooled on the journey, embrace the process? Because this is a generation that really is about the here and now. So how do you convince them about the process?
I don't change for 110 kids. That's going to be on a steady rotation from year to year. I don't change because if I'm changing, I got to change for this. I got to change for that. I got to keep on changing. I'm 54 years old, made a mistake there. I'm 54 years old and I ain't changing, man. I am who I am and I know who I am, what I am, and how I got here. So I like it. I really like it. So these kids gotta, they gotta do what we need them to do. We have a bunch of great coaches, great minds of football guys who understand and who can communicate, associate with kids and where they are now. We know how to inform them and involve them totally. But we just want these kids to make it to the next level by any means necessary. So if we have to give a little to take a little, we may have to do that. If they have to give a little to take a little, they have to do that. Everything is reciprocal around here, really. They got to. Thank you, my man. Appreciate you.
Last question goes to Ty Miller.
Coach, good morning to you. How are you?
How you doing, boss?
I'm good. Coach, post-game, you talked about getting your team to focus and finish. So in the process of having the week off, what are the things you do to make sure that teams And we often see it where teams jump out to big leads and down the stretch, they kind of like relax a little bit. So what do you get them to do the focus and finish?
Focus on what you didn't do well. And you wonder what you define and you dissect why. And that's involved in the coaches meeting. Then we come up with nuances and drills and football things to figure out why. And we focus on that and we just run that until it becomes a habit. It's hard to get people to finish when they really don't know how to start. Okay. So you take certain things and attributes, especially the ones that they really performed at, and you want them to do that more so. But then you got to digress and go back to the things that they didn't do well and really just hone in on that. And you may have to take a different route to get to that, because oftentimes just going directly to that route is not how they comprehend things. Kids are a little different these days, and we got to do what we got to do to reach them, and we will. But we're not going to sacrifice who we are to reach them. But overall, you got to understand, man, we have a standard. It's a new standard around here, and it's a new expectation. Everyone that's on this call right now, you expect us to win. It's just the standard. And if we don't win, you got questions for me, and you should. But I love it that you expect us to win. That means you believe. You can say that you sugarcoat it and say I really don't, coach, but you do. You do. We do. When we lost a couple weeks ago, you're like, what happened? Yeah, that was on us. We felt like we should have won that game. We should be undefeated having this call right now, but that's behind us. So right now, it gives us a week to re-energize, to heal, to tune up some things, and to get ready for our next challenge. That's 2 weeks studying one opponent, and we love that. We like those chances.
Thank you.
Thank you, my man.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. We look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you. You got such a stoic voice, man. You got one of them commercial voices.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Stoic.